All these little intricate 1-2s. Maradona!
Diego Armando Maradona, the most famous footballer to come out of Argentina, the most talented to come out of Argentina, the most controversial and most infamous to come out of Argentina. At 33 years of age, an unexpected fourth appearance in the World Cup finals provided a temptation much too strong to resist. A chance to answer a nation's call, to try and right wrongs, to do battle once more with the demons that seemed to torment him in his quest to be remembered as the perfect 10.
Here's Maradona. Oh, and he makes it 1-1.
Maradona. Going at them again. Brilliant run by Maradona. Fantastic goal. Unbelievable!
But here's Maradona again.
He has Burruchaga to his left and Valdano to his left. He won't need any of them. Oh, you have to say that's magnificent.
Maradona 1994 vintage was again compulsive viewing, an intensity and passion so visual as he equalled the finals appearance record against Nigeria. It proved to be his 21st and last appearance. There would be no record-breaking encore once he'd been led away from the heat of battle to the inferno of controversy that followed a random drugs test. As Argentina arrived in Dallas for their final group game against Bulgaria, the world's press was sensing a story of huge proportions. Amazingly, Maradona seemed totally oblivious to the rumours, calmly surveying a stage he was never to perform on, as his World Cup was about to be turned upside down.
Los dos análisis de los especímenes de orina.
Both analysis of the urine sample have proved to be positive. The player Diego Maradona of the Argentinian national team has therefore violated the provisions of the doping control regulations in the match Argentina-Nigeria.
The shockwaves which followed FIFA's announcement touched all parts of the globe, but the most immediate impact came later the same day as Argentina, with a new captain, seemed without direction and promptly lost 2-0 to Bulgaria. Back in Buenos Aires, the excitement and anticipation that the opening two games had instilled was fast reverting to the silence of disbelief. Constant updates of the seriousness of Maradona's offence filtered through to a people who really needed little proof that such stupidity was possible. This, after all, was no newcomer at flaunting rules. This was a man who will always be haunted by his past. So how come that an individual blessed with true genius can destroy himself and the faith and hopes of so many people? Give him a ball, any sort of ball, and you can only admire in awe. With skills as pure as this, there's no need for rackets or clubs. The background provides one clue to the flawed makeup. Maradona, the fifth of 8 children brought up in a Buenos Aires working-class slum, never received an education that would remotely prepare him for the temptations that fame and wealth would later bring. Football was one way out of the ghetto, a goal worth spending hours to achieve. And that's exactly what the young Diego realized very early on. Every waking moment perfected the touch and the feel. By 1978, as Argentina became world champions, Maradona was already knocking on the door, a 17-year-old who only just missed out on selection, mainly because of age. Within 2 years, there were few football followers, including British, who hadn't heard about or seen the precocious talent at work. A flash of brilliance at Wembley against England had only confirmed what the Scots had experienced a year earlier.
Well, I played against Diego Maradona at Hampden in 1979 when he was 18. He was absolutely sensational. All the Scottish players came off the pitch talking about this kid that was destined to become a superstar, and they weren't proved wrong. I believe in my time watching football there have been 4 great players that have been on another planet from the rest. Pelé, Beckenbauer, Cruyff and Maradona. And I think that only Pelé is better than him in that quartet.
Kempes. And again Kempes, and here's Maradona. Setting himself. Goalkeeper seemed to have it covered, but was beaten by the pace of the ball.
It was the 1982 World Cup in Spain which revealed the two sides of Maradona's nature, sent off in disgrace when he couldn't accept defeat. Some put it down simply to the impetuosity of youth, and Barcelona lured him away from his homeland in a world record-breaking move. It was a fitful stay at the new camp. Every little skill was needed to escape close attention, but with a temperament like Maradona's, it meant major confrontation was never far away. After 2 years in Spain, the next stop was Italy, a desperately ambitious Naples finding £5 million in the belief that the little Argentine would guarantee success. It's hard to imagine what must go through your mind when you're the centre of such hopes, and when 60,000 human beings, young and old, turn up just to say hello. For the still youthful Maradona, it produced the pure rush of adrenaline that becomes the legitimate drug to perform well. In 1987, Napoli won Serie A for the first time in their history. It came 1 year after Maradona confirmed to the world that he believed victory was acceptable in any guise. At Mexico '86, his left hand became as famous as the flashing left foot. Then, as now, Maradona found it impossible to admit wrong. The infamous goal which helped put England out of the World Cup he described as one which had been scored by divine intervention. What followed merely exposed the complexities of a man quite prepared to mix a cocktail that combined the cheat and the genius.
He has Burruchaga to his left and Valdano to his left. He won't need any of them. Oh, you have to say that's magnificent.
Maradona, there he goes, Maradona, he's done it once again, the man they can't contain. Cuchufo, Maradona, going at them again, brilliant run by Maradona, fantastic goal, unbelievable.
He was as near to a one-man team as you could get. He knew it, and so did the fans. Maradona didn't score in the final, but his pass paved the way.
Burruchaga is through for Argentina. Can he do it? It's there! Burruchaga has made it 3-2. Amazing scenes here.
The FIFA World Cup went to Argentina in 1986, and deservedly so. They were the best team. Maradona, the world's best player. This was undoubtedly the pinnacle of his career, the moment he'd first dreamed about in the back streets of Buenos Aires. For the next 12 months, he was lauded wherever football was admired. Comparisons with Pelé and Cruyff placed him amongst the greatest of all time. The youth of the world, hero worshipped and imitated, Diego Maradona became one of the most famous people on earth. On his return to Naples, a city, like Maradona, with two faces, the fame and fortune began to lead to his downfall. Drugs and prostitution offering temptation.
Al calcio fanno molto male i soldi, l'eccesso di denaro. Dove c'è l'eccesso di denaro ci possono essere tutte le peggiori trasgressioni, dalla droga, il consumo. In questo senso il mondo del denaro e della evasione nella droga ha fatto male a Maradona e ha fatto male al calcio.
Bavero alzato, capelli lunghi, ricci. Ecco, cioè si conosceva Maradona per la macchina, per la vettura, però dire quello è Maradona era irriconoscibile, cioè proprio per quella parte che usciva a tarda ora, quelle rare volte che è stato visto per l'occasione. Però insomma pure se lo si vedeva era difficilmente riconoscibile, a parte che poi correva, insomma, e dicevo questo qua è il tratto di strada che lui faceva e arrivava qua all'Hotel Paradiso.
As a famous footballer in the streets of Naples, you could choose your company. All too often, though, it was the company who picked you. It wasn't long before rumours abounded, Maradona's name being linked with some of Italy's most notorious criminals. Where there were criminals, there were also drugs, and it wasn't long before Maradona began to depend on cocaine. At the same time, his behaviour became increasingly extravagant. For his wedding to long-term girlfriend Claudia back in Buenos Aires, he hired a jumbo jet to transport from Italy his ever-growing entourage. The movement of people was innocent enough. What was more sinister were the allegations of drug trafficking levelled against Maradona, charges which are still to be faced back in Italy. Amazingly, the inherent skill he possessed papered over the growing cracks in Maradona's private life. Unprecedented success continued for Napoli. In 1989, Maradona led them to their first European trophy, the UEFA Cup. Stuttgart were the opponents, beaten 2-1.
So Maradona with the chance of the equaliser from the penalty spot.
A year later, Napoli were again celebrating becoming Italian League champions. It was also World Cup year, in Italy, and despite all the mounting off-field scandal, Maradona was there again to lead Argentina as they began the defence of their world title against Cameroon. Pre-game saw him casually perform one of his new tricks, but it wasn't long before the worldwide audience captured one of his old ones, this time with his right hand. As ever, there was the look of innocence. And typically Maradona was again to produce the goods when it really mattered, setting up Claudio Caniggia as Argentina knocked out arch-rivals Brazil in the second round. It produced one of the few bright moments for Argentina in a World Cup they generally soured with their cynical approach. Somehow they reached their second successive final. But no one was crying for Argentina or Maradona when they lost the final to West Germany. The decline had set in by March 1991. Overweight and overwrought, the good times were at an end when he failed a dope test for cocaine. By now addicted, he was a haunted, pitiful figure, banned by FIFA from all football for 15 months. There was no refuge for him either when he was spirited away to Buenos Aires. Another drugs charge, cocaine-related. But this time he was saved by the leniency of the Argentinian courts, who ordered him simply to kick the habit by going on a rehabilitation course. Throughout these troubled times, Maradona always held one trump card. Football-mad Argentina knew their national team were better with him than without him. Witness Colombia's devastating 5-0 World Cup qualifying win in Buenos Aires. Maradona did, as a spectator. Suddenly qualification for the 1994 World Cup finals hung in the balance. The call came. Argentina's route to America now hinged on a bizarre playoff against Australia. Maradona's presence proved enough inspiration. Just. A 1-1 draw in Australia set up an anxious return. Argentina qualifying thanks to a fortuitous deflection. Joy was unconfined for Argentina, and even more so for Maradona. A final chance to play in the World Cup. One his age and his increasingly disturbing habits seemed to have ruled out. There now emerged a bigger problem. Would the strict US laws on entry to their country prevent Diego Maradona competing in his 4th World Cup finals?
I do not believe that the Americans will have a special interest not to let him in, because he's coming as a football player, not as a dealer or something else. He's coming as one of 440 players, and I think he should have the chance to play if he will be picked up by his coach.
Cuando yo empiezo de presidente en esta casa a nivel nacional, y gracias a las conquistas obtenidas desde esa época hasta ahora, estando él, yo llego a vicepresidente de FIFA.
I do not know whether he deserves a dirty image, first of all, and second, I do not know whether he really has a dirty image. I mean, you are supposing that he has a dirty image. Maybe some people believe that he has a dirty image, but as a media man, you should know how quickly you get a dirty image without being dirty. So, I mean, in this respect, we would like to protect Maradona. He was what he has done. He has paid for it. If he has to pay again, he will do it. But there is no reason for FIFA to drop him and to make a special case out of him. He is a player who deserves to be protected by the game, what concerns our interests, what concerns his interests as a footballer. He will always be protected by FIFA. What concerns his private life, this is another matter which is not in the authority of FIFA.
But the turbulent side of Maradona's character surfaced again in February when he tried to disperse a group of reporters by firing pellets from an air gun at them, this with America looming. Without a club and lacking match practice, Maradona had to undergo an intensive fitness campaign to get in shape for the finals. On the surface, he seemed to have confounded the sceptics. 26 pounds was shed in a matter of weeks. It would ultimately not add up, but as Argentina opened their campaign, a slimmer, fitter Maradona produced a quite stunning comeback performance. So to the final curtain, the moment Maradona's international career ended. FIFA's routine drugs test revealed that at first he tested positive for ephedrine, but subsequently it was revealed to be a cocktail of 5 different banned substances. Maradona denied it to the end.
I swear that I didn't take any substance that FIFA could ban me for. And I would also like to say that I have given FIFA the opportunity to reconsider their decision because I believe it to be totally unjust. Perhaps technology has the capacity to determine certain results, but I am a football player and I do not need to take anything to raise my performance on the field. I swear it. I came here to explain this matter to you all because it seemed the best thing to do. I have suffered a lot on my own, and I promised my daughters I would not cry. I'm not crying. I want to be strong for them, and with God's wishes, maybe I can continue with the World Cup. And if not, I will say goodbye to football with an immense pain in my heart. And surely those who love me in Argentina will be sharing my feelings.
One man who has felt the anguish of Maradona's demise is his fellow Argentinian, Ozzy Ardiles.
Diego needed this World Cup badly because his reputation was very low. It was very low in Argentina, where it counts so much for him. People were having a go at him all the time. His normal friends, people in football, everybody was criticizing him. So this World Cup for him was a kind of revenge for everything. And you can see, for example, in the emotion involved when he scored a goal, and in the first 2 games, this is the way that he feel it. So it was very important for him to play this World Cup.
So what will his native Argentinians think of him now? What do you think of him now?
From my point of view, me personally, I have no change. Diego is my friend. Have always been, and I feel very sad and tragic, really. And from my point of view, I mean, a lot of people are going to criticize him. I am not, because it's enough people are going to criticize him, and with reason probably. In Argentina, it's going to be a great shock, and I believe that the people will turn very strongly against him.
And they nearly get it. Yes, they do! Silico gets a second.
Without Maradona, Argentina dropped from top to 3rd place in their first round group. Playing without him is a habit they will now have to get used to.
How would you sum up the talent that was Diego Maradona?
Diego was an incredible talent, the biggest talent that I have seen in my life. Better even than Pelé, I will say. If you ask me who I would prefer in my team, I would say Pelé first, yes, for his contribution to the team and etc. But as a talent, as a natural talent, Diego was just incredible.
So what do you see now for Diego Maradona? Do you see professional disgrace? Do you see personal ruin?
Personal ruin, not really, because he is a millionaire. He has earned a lot of money. After saying that, he has spent an enormous amount of money anyway. But in terms professionally, in international football, playing for Argentina, for example, is finished, I will say. And it's going to be very difficult to see. It's going to be very difficult to see if he will carry on playing football. I think he will probably try to, but that is such a hammering blow that I will find it very difficult if he is going to recover. The biggest blow in his career probably was what happened in Italy when he was banned for 15 months. And there were a lot of questioning that if he really recovered from that. And after the latest today, for example, probably the answer was no.
Diego Maradona, tormented and troubled, a flawed genius, and now a genius flawed. This time, ironically, by the hand of fate.